There's a fallout in Thailand regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We have a story regarding COVID endemic in 4 months in Thailand. And lastly, meth in a laundromat. That's all coming up in Good Morning Thailand today. Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand with Tim Newton and Jay, sponsored by Coffee Culture and Twin Palms Residences Montezor.
Well, if that's all the time we've got today.
We've got a lot to talk about.
We do have a lot to talk about.
That's right.
I've clearly been trying to get my head around exactly how what's been happening in the Ukraine over the past 24 hours is going to affect Thailand. So that's going to be a bit of a focus of our discussions today.
That's right. And we've also got a survey going on, so you can go to the Thaiger YouTube channel, go in the community section, and please take part in our survey results after the break. Now, Tim, let's just get cracking on with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There are a couple of things that we're going to try to basically link and talk to the viewers about how it's going to affect Thailand. Before we do that, any initial comments regarding the invasion?
Well, I think obviously the world is now over the oh my God phase. It's happened. I think a lot of people were perhaps shocked that it did happen, that Russia did go all out. Other people are going, I told you so. But strangely enough, they never documented the fact that they thought it was going to happen. That's always the way it is. But now it's just a matter of seeing how the rest of the world rolls out sanctions, how they wish to punish Russia for this action. What's been happening in the Asia Pacific is that only in Japan, South Korea and Australia has there been a direct condemnation. Indonesia's sort of issued a slightly more opaque reaction. Thailand has done nothing. Then again, the Thai Prime Minister was yesterday showing the Malaysian Prime Minister around and sort of giving gifts and doing all that sort of stuff. So he'll probably confront that today. So there's really just that initial 24 hours of what's happening. I'm going to be interested to see in the Asia Pacific, including Thailand, whether they ally themselves with the US directly and the sanctions imposed by the US and fall in line, or whether they take some other tack. As we'll go through soon, Jay, there's quite a lot of links between Russia and Thailand, and that's obviously now under some sort of blanket cover.
All right, let's talk about the current effects this is taking on Thailand, starting with car imports. Now, the Federation of the Thai Industries is worried that the Russia-Ukraine crisis may affect car exports, which have already dropped 5.8% in January because of the prolonged global semiconductor shortage.
Yeah, well, that's just an ongoing situation where the little microchips that, when you press the window and the window goes down, there's obviously a microchip that controls that, and there's hundreds of damn microchips in the car that are automating things that you do.
Yeah.
So that, on your Rolls Royce, when you push the accelerator down, something happens in the engine. There's no direct cable or anything anymore. It's all done by...
I press the button myself.
Oh, the driver does
Germs,
that.
yes.
Oh, your driver with the white gloves.
Yeah.
Presses the button.
Well, compared with the December exports, the figure has declined 31.1%. So it is a cause of concern for Thailand at the moment.
Yeah, and Thailand does export a lot of cars to Russia. So what's going to happen with that? Again, Thailand's going to have to make some sort of decision.
Yeah.
Whilst it's already lost quite a lot of its tourism income, whether it's going to also throw away some extra income from exporting cars to Russia.
And that's
just one area.
Yeah, we're also going to have to see, like you said, the Prime Minister will come out and probably address this situation either today or in the very near future. And we're going to have to see, is Thailand going to take part in any sanctions?
Yeah, there'd be a public servant madly typing something up at Government House at the moment because the Thai Prime Minister, as I said, had this this trip arranged with the Malaysian Prime Minister, sort of showing him around what do you do when you invite the Malaysian Prime Minister into Thailand? Take him to Chatuchak?
No, take him to the temples.
Take him to a sort of a go-go show in Pattaya?
No, but I think the Malaysian Prime Minister might be Muslim, so I don't know if he'd be happy going to a temple.
I think he'd love it.
Anyways,
He'd love the go-go show in Pattaya.
Continuing with the drops, the stocks have dropped. However, the gold has increased. The Thai stock market tumbled 1.99%, almost 2% yesterday, with local gold prices rose by 850 baht. And now, to give you a quick
Perspective?
Regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Dow Jones Futures Index fell 2.37%, Nikkei in Japan fell 1.09%, and the Thai Bourse fell 1.59%.
So, yeah, the stock market down in Thailand. But around Asia this morning, I've just been checking the numbers before we came on, Jay, and there's been a bit of a rebound. I think people are now sort of assessing the initial risks, and until the sanctions are actually sort of announced, I don't think there's going to be some huge changes. Also noticed that Bitcoin was up about 2%. Yeah. It's had a pretty rough ride over the past couple of weeks, so I think the Bitcoiners out there will be happy that there's been a bit of a rebound. I think that's sort of following the same direction as gold. It's sort of away from the traditional markets and seen by some people as a bit of a safe haven.
Yeah, well, war is strange, and some stocks are actually expected to benefit from this, which are oil-related businesses such as PTT, Thai Oil, and as well as hospital stocks such as Bangkok Dusit Medical Services and Bamrungat Hospital.
Well, yeah, medical tourism is quite big, and there are a lot of Russian clients coming to Thailand for the not necessarily less expensive than Russian, but certainly much higher quality medical attention than they'd get in Russia. So, yeah, those hospitals, those bigger private hospitals and medical tourism generally will also suffer. I noticed this morning that a plane arrived from Siberia. There's an airline called S7, and they were flying into Phuket last night and flew out again. I didn't notice any Aeroflot flights coming in, but an Aeroflot flight usually flies into Phuket each day from Moscow. I didn't notice that yesterday, but I don't think there's been any cessation of flights at this stage. But yeah, we're in that sort of early 24-hour phase.
Well, talking about planes, Tim, the Thai government wants to evacuate Thais from Ukraine. And the deputy government spokesperson, Kun Rashada Nadirek, said yesterday that a charter flight is ready to be sent to help evacuate Thais in Ukraine if tensions with Russia escalate further. And if air travel is curtailed, they will try to do it by land through Poland.
Yeah, obviously any citizens from other countries that are in Ukraine at the moment will be looking to get out of the country. I'm pretty sure they'd be packing their bags if they hadn't already done that several weeks before.
Yeah.
And you can't fly out of Ukraine at the moment. If you actually look at the flight data, it's just this huge circle of nothing where Ukraine is. No flights going in or out, and all the international flights going around the area. We can recall there was, I think, 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was the Malaysian airline flight that was shot down by a Russian missile. It just was apparently mistaken identity. So obviously no planes want to get in the way of any attacks on Ukraine.
All right. Before we go to the break, the last topic we'll be talking about is regarding Thailand wanting to call COVID-19 an endemic in the next 4 months. They forecasted this, and in 4 months' time, ladies and gentlemen, we will be part of an endemic here in Thailand and not a pandemic.
Well, what's that going to actually mean on the ground?
Not much.
So you would assume that if they're trying to make this big thing out of this transition from pandemic to endemic, that something magical is going to happen?
Well, the restrictions.
They'll lift all restrictions?
Ideally...
The emergency decree?
Yes. I think ideally calling it an endemic would entail easing of restrictions to like almost freedom.
I would sort of hope that we're going to start easing restrictions, particularly the restrictions on people arriving in Thailand at the moment, forgetting anybody coming out of Russia or Ukraine.
Yep.
I would hope that they're going to just quickly ease a lot of those conditions imposed on people and not wait 4 months. I don't think Thailand can wait 4 months to ease all the restrictions.
Yes.
What do you think the final restriction that is lifted? What will be the last thing that they will announce as far as reducing that they're going to, on one day, sometime in the future, they're going to say, today we are removing the final restriction. What will that be?
The Thailand pass.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
I think that will be the last one.
I'm thinking the Thailand pass might stay pretty much forever. It won't be as difficult, but it'll be a thing that you fill in before you come to Thailand.
Yeah. I think just to get away from the trigger word, they're going to change the name to Thailand Pass. They're going to use the same system and call it something else, because Thailand Pass would still, have links to the pandemic. Yeah. So they're going to call it the Thailand Entry.
They'll call it Happy Thailand.
Yeah.
Like they call Happy Quarantine.
Yeah.
I love the way they renamed the 14-day quarantine. They reduced it to 10 days and they called it Happy Quarantine. That was the official name.
That's right.
So I'm thinking it's going to be the wearing of masks.
Yes.
Because that is just something that is so almost ubiquitous in Asia, people walking around with masks.
But that's not a rule.
No.
I would have thought the same thing, but it's not actually illegal to not wear a mask.
However, it is expected. I think the Thai government at some stage are going to have to say, we don't expect you to wear a mask from this day forward. But I'm still thinking that a lot of people will. Maybe even myself. I don't know. It's may become a bit of a sort of a security blanket. I walk out of the door and go, oh, I'm naked. Have to put the mask on. And sometimes, unfortunately, because my face is on camera, people do like to stop me in the street, and the mask wearing does actually help with that.
Oh, I see.
Sunglasses and a mask? I could be anybody.
Could be anybody. The shirt doesn't help.
No, if I've got the shirt on, it doesn't help. But and if I wear a lumberjack shirt, I could be Jay.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
I'm just going to have a quick cough. Excuse me.
Okay.
It won't be a near cough. It's going to be a far cough.
All right. Just to give you a quick sum up, the Public Health Ministry is setting its sights on declaring the spread of the coronavirus disease as endemic within the next 4 months. Kun Kitiapum Wongrachit, Permanent Secretary of the Public Health Ministry, will hold a press conference soon to outline its management plan for transitioning to manage an endemic disease. And that is the information so far. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. Once we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about stories that include Cabinet approving the use of chemical castration for repeat sex offenders.
Yes.
As well as another tanker is caught discharging oil.
Can you believe it? We might also hear from Carmel. She's actually there, but she's been very quiet this morning.
That's right.
Are you there, Carmel?
The mysterious Carmel.
Yes, I'm here, but then what everyone is discussing about, it's first, it's really fast. First they started talking about the stocks, which one increased, and then they are now arguing amongst themselves about the whole situation. Yes. So I cannot just bring a comment because they're having their own thing in the
live chat has a mind of its own. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you do have any questions regarding any comment, regarding any of the topics.
And the survey.
As well as you want to make a question or a point regarding the topic we're talking about right now, please address it in the comment section so that Carmel can bring it up. As for now, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand with Tim and Jay. It's now time for 2 Minute Thailand with Nan, and it's a very controversial topic today. It's about Farangs.
I have an interesting question. Why do Thai people call Western or white people Farang? Today, I will explain this to you. Some people think it is from the word foreign or from français, from the French language. But actually it is from the word Farangi, which is Arabic. When the Arabs ruled Persia, it was resorted to Firingi or Farangi. In the Ayutthaya era, some of Persians came to trade in Ayutthaya and became language translators for the Ayutthaya royal court. Then Thai people follow what Persia called Western people who came to trade with us at that time, but we make it shorter, and finally it became Farang because of Thai people's accent. In the other hand, historians assume that it is from Indians who call Europeans as Frankis. and Thai people make it shorter to be Farang. Thai people also call guava Farang. This also happened in the Ayutthaya era. Portugal was the first Western nation to come to Thailand for trading. They left many cultural trees for their country behind, such as Khanom Thong Yip, Phoi Thong. Those are Thai desserts introduced from Portugal to Thailand by Maria Guilma de Pia. Moreover, Portugal also brought guava to plant in Thailand. Then people named it Farang, following what they call Portugal. That's the story. Have you ever heard this word or been called a Farang?
Right, everyone's got their own opinion on the word Farang, but here's another take regarding history. Did you know that it originates from an Arabic word?
Well, I mean, we've mentioned the topic a few times before, and people have chimed up with their own origins. And clearly there's no one origin. There's quite a few different influences, and they've sort of amalgamated now in the year 2022 for, well, probably the last 20 or 30 years, this word Farang, which tends to refer usually to Caucasian foreigners.
Yes.
So you wouldn't call a South Korean a Farang or an Indian person a Farang. It's usually reserved for Caucasian foreigners. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
I've usually found the term a little bit racist myself. That's the way that I've interpreted it. Other people don't seem to agree with me, but it's a term that is still quite popular in Thailand when referring to white or Caucasian foreigners, Europeans, Americans, Australians. Do your Australian accent again?
My Scott Morrison accent.
Go on, off you go.
G'day. I'd like it to be known that Australia does not allow pits into the country. Even if you are Johnny Depp and voted the sexiest man on earth, Australia will not allow this.
You sound like you're impersonating The Simpsons impersonating an Australian.
Possibly.
Very good. We got anybody, Carmel?
That was a better Scott Morrison
Quick,
than...
take
Yes.
us away from this.
Yeah, okay, sure. This is from Private Pablo. This is about the Ukraine and Russia situation. Do you think the Thai government will publicly side with the U.S. as they have done for decades?
Yeah, this is, I think, the interesting thing, Jay, whether the Thais are just going to fall in line with the United States, who have been a long-term ally. But they've also obviously got links with China, who have, I think by exception, not condemned the invasion of Ukraine by Russia in the last 24 hours. So it will be interesting to see over the next, I think it's going to be the next 24 hours, the Thai Prime Minister would be expected to, like every other leader around the world, to make some sort of comment about it. But yeah, interesting question. We don't know the answer.
Okay, for the next question, it's from Bruce Robinson, and he asked, how will the Thai government handle Russian tourism? Will they stop it or continue to let them in?
That again, I think, is really interesting. I mean, the fact is that at the moment there's just a dribble of tourists coming back to Thailand, some 3 to 5%, depending on the week, of the numbers from, say, 2 years ago or pre-COVID. And I think Russian entries have been travellers, both tourists and business people, have been in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Sort of the people coming back to Thailand. So I don't think the Thai government want to turn off even the small dribble of tourists coming from anywhere at the moment.
Not just tourists, but there's a big Russian expat community in Thailand. Places like Pattaya, places like Phuket are filled with Russians.
And I don't think they're going to be expelled. I very much doubt that.
Expelled.
Well, I mean, that has happened from time to time, that expats from countries can get expelled. But I don't think that's going to happen. But whether they're going to let people fly in from Russia as tourists in the short or medium term, we don't know. Again, I think that's something that's going to manifest itself over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, as I mentioned at the start, we're sort of over that oh my God phase. Now governments around the world are going to have to sit down and say, all right, how do we functionally go ahead with this? There's just absolutely not going to be any foreign troops putting their foot on Ukrainian soil. I just do not see that happening. It would be the start of something silly and something very big. So I just don't think that's going to happen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with the survey, I'd like to
I'm ready.
I'd like to give a quick shout out to Damien Jesser. Thank you for being a member.
Damien, thank you so much.
One of our longest serving members. We appreciate all our members and all our viewers who watch our show every day.
Well, members, they will
Yes.
get a 10% discount on things like our...
Tiger Legends.
only Tiger Legends?
Only Tiger
Oh, you
Legends.
have to be very special indeed then. Where's the mugs? They're not here.
They're not here.
We've got our coffee culture mugs.
We've got a painting.
But we've got the paintings where, you can go to thetiger.com/shop.
Yep.
Or you can go to the Thaiger website and shop is up there in the menu and you can see the merchandise. If you're overseas, send us an email and fill out the form, send us and we'll work out the shipping costs for you. Everybody has to be worked out individually.
That's right. Visit Coffee Culture for your coffee and Twin Palms Residences Montezur.
Oh, magnificent properties along the
It's very
Kamala
fancy.
Beach.
If you like fancy things in life and the good things in life,
I've got an idea.
what?
We could do a week of broadcasting from Montezur
That'd be a very good idea.
on Kamala Beach. Now, that
Yes.
would be nice.
Fancy beach as well.
I could do it with
It's just a posh area.
I could do it in my Speedos, my top off, letting my skin soak in the golden sun of Kamala Beach. Think that'd attract viewers? No. I think Greenpeace would come along and try and roll me back in the water.
No comments. And swiftly moving on, let's now talk about the cabinet has finally approved, Thai cabinet, the use of chemical castration on repeat sex offenders. Now, what do you think about this? As soon as I read that headline, I thought to myself, repeat. As soon as I heard the word repeat, I was like, good.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, what are you going to do with repeat serial sex offenders? You have to either incarcerate them so they can't hurt people in the future. You have to moderate their behaviour. And sometimes this is just the way that they've been born. They've been born, their DNA is such that they have a propensity for sexual crime and they need to be handled in some way. Chemical castration, which is basically taking pills to suppress your sexual appetite.
Yes.
Well, I thought of something, but I'm definitely not going to say it. It is used in many countries, now apparently in Thailand.
Yeah, the bill is aimed at preventing repeated sexual offense cases, which includes chemically castrated sexual predators, if at least 2 medical professionals agree with the procedure and the offender gives consent.
And that's fair enough too.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of them are happy to
Get help.
Yeah, to get help.
Okay.
Now, in the past, there used to be much more draconian and violent solutions to the problem. I think the chemical castration by taking medication is obviously a much better solution. And yeah, if they're happy to take the medication, doesn't have any other bad side effects, then I think both the community and the actual offender will be happy with the result.
That's right. And in addition to what is being called the Sex Act, some offenders will be ordered to wear a tracking device and to only stay in one area, which would be designated by the court. They would also be banned from leaving the country, required to notify when changing a workplace, and prohibited from joining certain activities that could lead to offences.
Well, this again falls in line with what a lot of other countries have done with coping with sex offenders. Yeah. Rather than incarcerate them, let them back into the community and modify their behaviour with both chemical castration with the medication and by tracking devices and other restrictions. So I think generally that's a positive move for everybody, the community and the offenders themselves.
Right. Our next topic is regarding more oil.
Oh,
but not leaks,
I couldn't
rather
believe
discharge. Yeah. A tanker was caught discharging oil into the sea of Thailand's Chon Buri province. Chon Buri has not been lucky with oil in their sea.
No, and the thing is, although there's all this huffing and puffing about efforts to contain the slicks and adding dispersants and building the barriers, and the thing is that not all the oil is getting caught. A lot of it's ended up at the beaches. What's that beach that I couldn't say the name this morning? Mea Rampung. Don't. That's why I got you to say it.
Yep.
So that beach had like a lot of oil, and the volunteers and the Royal the Royal Thai Navy were marching along trying to remove it. And those pictures were just not the sort of thing that you want to see. The thing is that all the oil is not being caught. It gets into the fish. There's other discharge. Again, it's just magically dispersing with the water. I think they said the slick is 5 miles long or 5
That's right.
kilometres long.
Yeah, a 30 to 40-year-old tanker was found to have discharged oil mixed with water around 5 miles long.
And once it's been
about
mixing,
3,000 litres of oil.
once it's been mixing with the water, not all the parts of the oil float to the surface. Some of it mixes with the water. It's just a mess. It's shameful that this should be happening.
How did he think they would get away with it? It's 5 miles long.
Yeah.
You could see it on the sea.
And obviously there's a lot of surveillance on that part of the Gulf of Thailand at the moment. And poor old Chon Buri, which has got some very nice beaches. Patti, of course, has got beach. Well, not so much beaches, they're areas of sand. But people like using those beaches. And down south, Rayong, those beaches get very, very nice. You've got Koh Samet, the whole island. Those areas, they don't need a problem like this. And people are saying they've been swimming in the waters. They're told it's safe. There's other departments in Thailand who have been doing water measurements and saying there's a lot of toxins in the water. None of this is good for tourism. And they're on one hand saying, oh, we've got it under control. Then other parts of the Thailand government are going down and saying, well, no, it's really dirty water. And then tourists are posting pictures of them with oil stains on them if they get out of the water.
Yeah.
This is not good. And you really think the Thai government can put up a better effort in the third decade of the 21st century. Third decade of the 21st.
All right.
That's correct.
Yes. Can I ask you a question, Tim?
Oh, you can.
Why did all these oil spills and these tankers happen to be in Chon Buri?
Well, you got the big port there at Chamlabang?
Ding, ding, ding. Lam Shabang.
Lamchabang.
Shamlabang, yeah. Close enough.
Now, don't you all laugh at me, all right?
There's about 10 people in the office who heard that.
Lamchabang.
That's right.
Which I have been to because I actually imported a boat at one stage about 10 years ago, and I've been to that port and paid off many people to get my boat out of customs. So I think this morning I was having problems pronouncing Thai words, and then some of the Thai staff are having problems pronouncing English words.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a bit of a pronunciation off next week, hosted by Natty.
All right.
That'll be hilarious, sadly.
All right, before I move on to my last topic, which is a more lighter, fun story, let's address the survey. We haven't done that yet. So the question was, with the invasion of Ukraine by Russian military forces, there will be immediate effects from the sanctions already applied on Russia, but will any of this directly affect Thailand in the short term? Long term, what sanctions will the Thai government impose, if any? We've listed a few items on your consideration and hope to hear about other downstream fallout from the crisis. Over to you. Now, 533 people have voted so far. Tim, what are the results?
Well, that's not bad in, about an hour and a half. And the survey will be open for the rest of the day, and we may indeed turn it into a story at thethaiger.com. We'll start from the least number of votes. I said exports to Russia may be curtailed. Cars, fruit, processed food. Only 3% of people thought that might happen. 7%, numerous flights from Russia to Thailand may be banned. Now, some of these things we just don't know at the moment, but I'm suggesting that some of these things might happen, and we're seeking your thoughts. 13% of the people said that Russian tourists may be prevented from visiting Thailand. That's going to be interesting to see. Coming in second with 24% of the votes was Thailand will fall in line with other US allies with sanctions. I think that's probably the most probable, but with 53% of the vote, people agreed with one statement I made, which says oil prices will soar, petrol and flights will be more expensive. And that'll certainly affect all of us because you put petrol in your Rolls Royce, and I like flying to Phuket every weekend, so that both those costs are going to be. But your Rolls runs on what?
Magic.
Champagne, isn't it? You just pour champagne into the tank.
Pretty much.
And we got a lot of comments on this. I think we've got some 18. No, that's likes. How many comments? 14 comments. People have. Yes. Some said we're crazy. What was the one down here? Wow, Thaiger is not mincing any words. Guess they getting out of touch. Thank you very much to Timothy Han. slightly trolling us there. But thank you for those comments. We'll get to them later as well. But thank you for participating in our daily survey.
Our last story today is regarding meth. Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this isn't so much a funny story. This is sort of sad in so many ways.
It's sad, but funny in a way that a woman was arrested for smoking methamphetamine in a laundromat in Pattaya.
She was
last
smoking
night.
ice.
Yes, methamphetamine, meth.
Yeah.
Ice, sorry, as the cool kids called it apparently. The woman allegedly said she loved ice and invited the police to join her in smoking it, saying it would give them extra energy.
Well, it's one way of coping with the situation. If you're confronted by the police, you could say, "Oh no, nothing happening here. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
As you throw your crack pipe into the what do you call it? The fast spin dryer. But no, instead she went the opposite. Hey, come on, join in. I'm having fun. I'm feeling great. You'll feel great too.
And the woman, the police said that she was blatantly smoking in public, and like she didn't care, and she wasn't even trying to hide it.
Even funnier, she didn't have any laundry to wash.
That's right.
She was just hanging there.
You would have asked, why is she in a laundromat with no laundry? We don't know either.
Yeah, I usually go and hang out the laundromat and don't take my laundry. It's the place to be for the cool kids.
They asked her where she got the meth, and she said, "Oh, I got it from a friend." And when they asked her, "Oh, can we have contact details of your friend?" she couldn't remember her friend's name anymore. So at least she's not a snitch.
Yes. But yeah, I hope she gets the. She's been taken into.
She clearly needs help.
Yeah,
yes.
she's been taken into care, and I hope she gets the help that she needs.
But unfortunately, using methamphetamine ice in Thailand can earn people up to 3 years in prison or a fine from 10,000 to 60,000 baht.
Yeah, one thing: if you're coming to Thailand, don't muck around with illicit drugs, because if you are caught, the sentence, the punishment can be draconian. Carmel.
2 comments about this story. From Sick Puppy, what else is there to do in laundromats? And from Natty Smokes Fatties, where else do you smoke meth?
I mean, he's got a point.
Laundromats, yeah. It's become the latest sort of meth dens.
Can I, I've noticed there have been a lot of laundromats that have opened in Phuket. Have you noticed that? Like those self-care laundromats. That was never a thing in Thailand in the first place. But in Phuket, they've been since COVID. A lot of people go to the laundromat. They clean their own clothes, and then you pick up your clothes and you go home. That's a very American or maybe a Western thing to do. But in Thailand, that's now become very normal.
I think there's like a lot of the latest condos have foregone things like having a washing machine, even a kitchen, and they are now trying to have a bit more living space and saying, look, if you want to eat, there's Food Panda and there's thousands of restaurants just outside your door, as there are just about anywhere in Thailand. And as far as washing's concerned, go to the local laundromat.
And there's so many franchises. I mean, buy a franchise of laundromat today in Thailand.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a thing, and clearly a place that people using meth like to go. So, yeah, laundromats, a thing in Thailand. Yeah, I'd say around my area I've seen 2 or 3. And they're quite fancy, and they're well lit, and they've got places to sit, and they've got free Wi-Fi. So they're, it's a thing.
Yeah, good way to launder money. Just saying,
No,
allegedly.
No. You're mixing your laundering. There's no such thing.
Laundromat from Breaking Bad. If you know, you know.
I'm just wondering, all the people...
That was a joke, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't take my words seriously.
I don't like that show.
Why?
No, it's just...
How dare you?
Not pleasant to watch.
It's one of the best shows ever made.
One of the best shows ever made?
Yes.
That is a very big claim.
In terms of storytelling, yes.
I'm worried that all the people on the chat section, they just spend the time looking at the chat and they've got their own show, and they don't watch what we're talking about.
Oh yes, 100%.
They've got their own show.
100%.
So can't
even
we...
one of them asked if we could run the show longer so that they can all have a chat.
For longer. Yeah, we're doing this just for you.
Yeah.
Sadly, what happens after the show is the chat gets removed and then it gets posted onto our YouTube channel. So the chat's only available for, for that 45 minutes odd that we're on air.
Wait, I'm sorry, I've been corrected twice in about 2 seconds. The first one being in Breaking Bad, it was not a laundromat, it was a car wash. Yes, it was a joke. It wasn't a direct link. But Just, can we
I
move
don't
on?
know what you're talking
Oh, and the
about.
Craig 777, apparently I use the word endemic as a noun. There's no such thing as an endemic. It's just...
Something is endemic. It's an adjective.
That's right. So thank you for that grammar lesson. I shall be better next time. All right, those are all the stories we have for today. We're going to take a quick break and come back and address some of your questions. So if you do have any questions for us,
Bet you do.
now would be the time, and Carmel will be looking out for that. So we'll be back right after this.
Find the coffee roast you love most. Coffee Culture delivers Thai coffee online. Whole beans or pre-ground delivered to your doorstep in Thailand. Go to coffeeculture.asia and get coffee you love delivered to your doorstep.
Let's go.
Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand with Tim and Jay. It's now time to address your live questions.
Okay.
No natty, no peace, says PG Santa.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, so the first comment is from PG Santa, and he just wanted to congratulate us for reaching 800 viewers,
Oh, right.
current
Is
watchers.
PG Santa a member?
No,
No.
he's not.
Oh, well.
PG
you
Santa.
better be. I think we read you out far too often. But thank you very much for your congratulations.
Number one natty fan, apparently. Apart from
Natty.
whoever calls himself Natty Smokes Fatties. What a name.
Okay, Carmel.
Damien said that your impression of the Australian accent, was it?
Yeah.
You had a bit of a Kiwi in there, Jay.
Yes, I have some Taika Waititi hints in there.
You sort of, what's that
When I said pits,
passage of
Bits.
water between New Zealand and, I haven't been there for 10 years, I can't remember.
Well,
I'm a half
you're-
Kiwi.
yeah, exactly. Your accent isn't 100% authentic.
Excuse me, I was born and raised in Australia. I've spent my holidays in New Zealand, but I didn't pick up any of the Kiwi accent, I'm glad to say.
Still a half Kiwi, though.
I do have lots of relatives, of course, in New Zealand, and very happy to visit them. I haven't seen them for, 10 years or so.
But normally in Australia and in New Zealand, they don't often like anyone. They wouldn't want to be called one or the other. Like if you're from New Zealand, oh, I'm a Kiwi.
Yeah, sure,
right?
they're proud. So a lot of people... Excuse me, just got the coughs this morning. A lot of people in New Zealand like to be fiercely independent. They don't want to be put in the same grab bag as Australians. Australians are less fussed about it.
Okay.
The two countries are very close. Cross-trade, cultural, etc.
Carmel.
Okay, so from reread, that person said, like, when you guys were still talking about Ukraine and Russia, they said that I stand behind my President Biden, and I trust that he will do the smart thing, which is not to involve military. Extreme sanctions are what will be effective in this situation.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting time, but I just can't see any rational reason to put soldiers' feet on foreign soil again. I think the US has learnt their lesson over the past 70 or 80 years that that usually doesn't end well for them or anybody else. So I just don't think that's going to happen. If it did, if NATO decided to put soldiers onto the Ukraine soil, it would be the start of something very bad and very big. That's my perception anyway.
Yeah. So a quick question from me. The Craig 777 says, how do you become a member? The Craig 777, you can press the join button right under the like button after you've clicked the like button. Also,
If you're on YouTube, there's on a desktop, there's a join button underneath. If you're on a mobile phone, is the join button there as well? I assume it is.
yeah.
So if you click that, you can read all about what you get, including you get your special programs, you get chats with Jay, you get access to us, including...
Is that really a perk, chats with Jay?
Yes, Jay. I think also we're still talking about planning this Bangkok night out.
Yes.
Where we'll...
One night in Krungthep Mahanakhon with
We'll-
the Thaiger.
We'll just go crazy one night between, say, 7 and 9 o'clock, and it'll be free lemonades for everybody. Be a fantastic night.
Yeah.
I'll be rushing to that. Carmel's going to come along too.
Yeah. Click the
Yes.
like button if you're enjoying the video, and also if you're excited to see the face behind the voice of...
God.
No. No, that's going to remain a secret.
Oh, is it? Well, how's
Yeah.
Carmel going to come? We're just going to, just her voice, we're going to pre-record her voice and play it during
No, we'll just
the
bring her
meet.
with a bag over her head.
Okay, that's
So,
easier. And
yeah.
cut some holes. Yeah,
Cut some
yeah,
holes, so
okay.
at least she can speak.
Okay.
But we'll have Natty will come along too.
Yeah.
Maybe Natty will do something that she did last night. Are we allowed to talk about
yes,
that?
Yes, we are allowed to talk
Wow.
about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually went and watched Natty do stand-up comedy yesterday, and I must say, I was extremely impressed. Overall, it was a great night, and I felt nervous for her when she went on stage. I mean, the courage it takes to go in front of a stage and meet random people and make them laugh for like 10, 20 minutes.
I would be terrified.
Surreal. I was like nervous for her. I was like, am I laughing hard enough? Should I? I was like shouting. I was like, woo! I was really proud.
So what are the topics she covered?
She actually spoke about the Thaiger as well.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's how she started it out.
That'd be funny.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
And then she spoke about her family and just life in general as an Asian woman. It was hilarious, and I feel very proud to be working with
Was
such a
it PG or
talented-
R-rated?
Yes, in the middle. In the middle.
Oh, okay. So it was a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't bring the kids.
Yeah, but in general, her comedy is a bit R-rated. So
Err.
if you enjoyed that, we will. Yeah, watch out for Natty's.
Or
stand-up
I think
comedy.
some of the viewers would love a bit of R-rated humour from Natty.
Yeah, so a big good job and congrats to Natty on her stand-up comedy, and feel very proud to be working with such a talented colleague and friend.
What about me?
And moving on, any more questions, Carmel?
Bruce Robinson asked, when are you going to do this show from Chiang Mai?
Oh.
Well, we're waiting for the invitation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you own a business in Chiang Mai and would like to sponsor the show,
Yeah, I told my mother once that I wanted to become a comedian. She just laughed at me.
did she? Well, you're halfway there then.
Anyway, so we'd love to work in Chiang Mai,
Yeah.
or we'd love to do a show in Pattaya. And for a very small amount of money, we'll bring the whole team down, including Carmel and Num. It's quite a team, actually.
Yeah.
And look, we're quite happy with minimum 5-star accommodation overnight. And Jay does like his free breakfast in the morning. If he doesn't get that, he gets a little bit bit nasty. So but no, we'd love to come down and we'd love to tour Good Morning Thailand.
All right, running up on 40 minutes. Last question,
Wow.
Carmel. Anything left?
This is when you guys were talking about the oil spill in the
Okay.
beaches. Reread asked, I thought the tanker was caught discharging waste and not just oil.
No, it was oil mixed with water.
Yes, well, I suppose you could call it waste, but it was something they couldn't contain, and they had to disperse it because this was an old oil tanker. Looking at it, it didn't look that old, but apparently it's 40 years old. But there are a lot of ships in the Gulf of Thailand, and you just hope that the ones containing oil have got the plugs in, really.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the show there. We hope you've enjoyed the show today. And also, if you do have any comments from all of the stories, you can also comment in the comment section below. Thank you to Coffee Culture. You can buy the tasting kits before you buy the big bags at coffeeculture.asia. As well as thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, viewer.
Yeah, thank you, Carmel. Thank you, Num behind the buttons.
No
Ladies
problem.
and gentlemen, we will be doing Tiger Bites that will be coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And wish everyone a happy Lumberjack Friday. Have a great day.